Good morning. Well, no time for camping this weekend, so I'm just going for a short local walk, and I thought, hey, I'll show you somewhere different. Might like it, might not. Just wanted to get out for a short walk this morning, so I've come just up the road. It's a nice little tranquil oasis of trees and birdsong, but I'm still in the middle of the town. In fact, oh, that's a bit bright, that line of trees. 3 roads that way, my house. There's another road just up there where I've parked. I'm going to head down into the woods. This little stream through the woods starts as a spring up on the high ground on the outside of town, flows down through here, then goes into pipes under the road around the area of my house, out into the park, and eventually finds its way to the sea. Very deep valley, heavily wooded, can never be built on. Not only not really practical, but from my understanding, this was all part of a big private estate in Victorian times. And when the final owner had no one to leave it to, he left it to the people of Hastings. And the whole area is now managed by a local trust, and I think some help from the council as well. But it does mean we have large areas like this in the centre of town. There's actually quite a few of them, most of them old Victorian estates where people have left them to the locals. I think they were quite forward thinking, really, trying to, protect the nature and so on of the area, quite ahead of their time, and I'm glad they did. During the lockdowns in 2020, when we was dealing with all that COVID rubbish, there was a point where you were only allowed out for an hour's exercise a day and all them silly rules. Not that many of us sort of went along with it. But as this was so close, I used to just walk up here. So it's only like 3 roads from home, so it's no big deal. Wasn't hardly anyone on the streets anyway. I'd come into here and just disappear for the day. It was an escape. Being in the town, it felt quite oppressive. But out here, it feels like the middle of nowhere, because it is a very large woodland. And it was a great place to just get away and forget about all the rubbish, really. Of course, this was the time I was also going through my chemotherapy for my blood cancer. And I had a lot of old rubbish going on in the head, so it was nice to just get out here and forget about stuff for a while. I still find it hard to believe sometimes that places like this, I'm sure you can hear the bird song and all the rest, not a person to be seen. It's not like it's stupid o'clock, it's middle of Saturday morning. There's no one in here. You see a lot of negative press about Hastings, but they tend to focus on, should we say, town centre problems. There's lots of beautiful places like this which are actually in the town, not the outskirts, in the middle of town. Whether it be the geography, they can't build, or like this place is been left as a trust, it's protected. There's little pockets like this, and some not so little, like this one, of solitude. and proper woodland in the centre, but hardly anyone comes here and hardly anyone focuses on it, which I find very strange. Or is it just a reflection of how a lot of people are today? If you can't get it on your computer or on your phone, they're not really interested. I think they're missing out. I've walked out the top of the woodland, across the track. It still extends up that side a little bit as well. It's this big open field, these old oaks and whatever. It's all part of the same property, which is now public access. And although it looks like a proper countryside, shall we say, I'm still in the middle of the town. It's quite weird. I mean, I've obviously been up here hundreds and hundreds of times, and it still messes with my head. I think anyone that didn't know the area and came here for the first time would think, what the hell's going on? If I walk straight up that direction and through that woodland, there's probably another mile of housing before you got to the edge of town. And all this is sort of right in the centre. It's very bizarre, really. Right, let's cross the field. One more thing to search out. Something I've only found once, but it is hidden in here somewhere. Can I find it? I don't know. If I do, I'll bring you back. Ah, some old stone steps and a very modern plank. I think we might be on the right path. Ah, the hidden pond. It was only rediscovered, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, something like that. And there is efforts, as you can see. People are slowly clearing it. I don't know whether it's unofficial or just people that love the spot are doing the work. Oh, bloody hell, it's muddy there. Let's see if I can skirt round it. I mean, you can see original brickwork there. Been reinforced with concrete at some point. A bit more brickwork there. It would have been all sort of man-made by the Victorians. There was probably a little pond or puddle here beforehand, but they obviously worked with that. This is where the water comes in. Now people have named this, you know, the Holy Spring and all manner of things, but I think they're all flights of fancy, shall we say. I think this is just the Victorians found the spring on their woodland and wanted to make it a feature. And fair play to them. They did have style. I certainly wouldn't mind this in my garden. And it was full of water and well maintained. It must have been quite impressive. Hooray! English bluebells. Oh, I won't focus. But you see how all the flowers go over one side. Can't you tell English ones? We've got a lot of Spanish bluebells. Don't know how they ended up here, but they have blooms on both sides and they're paler in colour. English ones blooms on one side and darker colour. Nice bit of blossom. And even though the tree's fallen and pretty knackered, it's still doing its best. Right, time to turn around and head back down across the valley, because I'm parked on the opposite side. Right, heading towards home. I'm walking on, it seems a bit strange, but as you can see, it's straight open grassy track. This is actually the driveway up to the big house that owned all this ground. So the last thing that rumbled up and down here would have been a horse and carriage. Well, apart from the odd tractor now that they have up here for maintenance and stuff. I do actually like the way they maintain this place, because they don't interfere too much. You know, if a tree falls, it gets left where it is, and this is blocking a path, and then they just like cut the section over the path and leave the rest. It's very sort of managed at a distance, which I think is a nice compromise. So that's the end of my morning's walk. I've been out for an hour and a half, something like that, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. Now it's time to go home and get on with all the other stuff that's going to take up the rest of the weekend. Never mind, can't be camping all the bloody time. I'll see you soon.